Hello. I'm just mucking with things like I always do. Um, I do have a little bit of a light here, but it's one of those cloudy days where the light will just keep going between clouds and not clouds. So I do have a little bit of a fill light here just because I couldn't be bothered setting up the box lights on a Sunday. But bear with me. The lights will change and I'm sure the editing, if this happens, will be a nightmare, but that's okay. Oh my gosh. All right. So I've been humming and hawing a little bit this weekend over how to tell the story about the shift that's been happening with me in terms of my political beliefs, the information that I consume. Not necessarily, I haven't shut anything out, but consuming a wider range of information. And a little bit about that journey, because I think there's a few people that might be, I don't want to say concerned, but surprised or not surprised, depending on how you feel about me individually. I'm just going to be fucking with light just for a little bit, just to make sure, because the clouds are being annoying. But I'll do the best I can. I just got to get set up. This is the first time I've used this light and it doesn't really have a remote, so I've got to do it manually. Okay, so I don't feel like I owe anybody an explanation, if I'm honest with you. I don't feel like I have anything to prove in terms of who I am, in terms of what I've contributed to the world so far, in terms of the capacity of my brain and the capacity of my heart. I don't believe that those who know me will question that, which is why I've been wanting to make a series of videos, but I'm better off just talking. I'm one of these people that let's just see where it goes, and I'm keeping it back up. And if it's editable, if you want to volunteer to edit, go for it. So I'm in two minds, because on one hand, I don't feel like I have to justify my politics, because those who know me know that I'm pretty smart. And smart people are, there's no malintent with me in general, right? But those that know me also know that I'm qualified as a political scientist and pretty well grounded in theory. And, again, just be patient with. For those who haven't seen my live streams before, be patient. It usually takes me a few minutes to really gather my thoughts, because I do get that little bit of initial stage fright. So, and I'm just monitoring the light situation. So I cannot multitask to save my life. So just give me 1 second. But we'll get there. So I don't feel like I owe an explanation to anybody about my politics. I don't. My head's on right, my heart's straight. I have lived, some would argue that I've lived more lifetimes than most people of my age. And I'm also 40 and old enough to know the difference between fact and bullshit. And I really hope, like, this is just my story. You can agree. I really want I want to hear other people's stories more than mine. I'm not interested, but you might relate to it, because I think my journey is very similar to a lot of other people. And you might not. It might actually make you mad. And if it does make you mad, I'd really like to ask you why that is. Because, I don't respond to those sorts of comments on Periscope. I'm also not paying attention to those. So, okay. So, okay. I should have turned comments off. That's right. Okay. So, all right. I'm actually just thinking about whether I should turn the comments off. It's all right. Okay. All right, let me start again. I'm just going to close the window. I apologize. I will respond in kind if I need to, but I can't keep focused on those and tell the story at the same time because they disrupt my thought process. So let's start over. All right. Sorry about that to anyone watching. Okay, so I don't feel that I owe an explanation to anybody for my politics because my head's right, my heart's right. Those who know me, have known me for years, know that I'm pretty switched on, actually pretty ahead of the game. People usually end up coming to me later on and going, yeah, you were pretty much right, but I didn't say anything. This is another one of those things, I think, where I think there's some people that are concerned about my politics and that they might have changed, but this is something that I just feel that I need to address and also just share because I think there's a bunch of people who are currently hiding sort of behind anonymous accounts and a number of people who are confused as to why I'm sharing the kinds of things that I'm sharing. But because I've got a lot of friends on the left, believe it or not, because I've had a political life. I'm political, that's how I am. And I'm also in the business world, so I'm grounded in reality. But also grounded in ideas. And I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive necessarily, but I'm saying that business tends to be impolite to talk about politics, in business. So, okay, so I'm warming up. So, all right, where does this start? Where do I start? So I've always been a feminist, right? And I mean that in the traditional sense. Those who've seen my previous videos know that my feminist credentials are right and tight. Those who I have always been vocal and speaking up, but the wheels have fallen off of this nonsense. The wheels have fallen off. And you can say that this is like white girl hanging onto power. I don't give a shit. Again, if you're going to, it actually says more about our friendship. And about if you're in this cult and deliberately baiting and trying to, this is why I'm frustrated. I'm still self-conscious in the way that I'm talking about this stuff, right? So hang on, sorry, my phone's got. Hang on, one sec. This is fucking something's happened here. 1 second. Sorry. I know this is what live streams are like. They're a pain in the ass. And I'm still getting used to this stuff. And the light is worked. Okay. So, a little bit of background. So I am a political scientist and a designer. I talk about this stuff in previous videos. I've always been a pretty active feminist and always had my politics rooted in economics, economic theory, pragmatism in terms of conversations. I firmly believe in the sharing of ideas and consensus. You don't have to agree, but you try to find the closest possible solution where everybody wins. And I feel like we've gotten away from that in many ways. This is partially, I know a lot of this stuff is just online and that can be, there's a perception there that Twitter in particular and online are the real world when we all know that they're not. You turn your computer off and you walk out in the street, and unless you are looking for threat and danger and trouble, it's generally pretty all right. Okay. Not in all cases, but in most. The internet it feels real, but it's not real. Okay. So, I'm waffling. I'm gonna edit this. So, the video starts now. Okay. So, how did I get here? I feel like there's a lot of people talking about how they are politically homeless, right? And a lot of this is because they're feeling like they cannot relate to any particular political party, that they don't belong in the Greens, they don't belong in the ALP, they don't, what it used to be, it's just not, it doesn't represent who they are, because both parties have gone woke, so to speak. And they don't necessarily feel like they have enough in common with the conservative parties. In Australia, it's the Liberal Party. In the US, it's the Republicans. You know, in the UK, it's yeah, you know, you insert your own party here. But it's a common thing across the world that we're seeing, which there's a bunch of very established, credible thinkers and established, and a lot of women and a lot of Gen Xers who are, fucking the Periscope jerk-offs are here. Okay, so, yeah, I might actually turn Periscope off because I want to actually see okay. Live streams are not clever. No, you can fuck off. Okay, Periscope wasn't a good idea. I've turned this on, and this is basically the time of day when people get their dicks out. Hang on, one sec. I'm going to turn this back on. Just give me 5 minutes, and I'll get rid of this, and we'll start again, and I'll turn Periscope off because it's actually really distracting. Okay.